Alright, so welcome back to some more MX versus ATV All Out. So today I thought kind of a cool idea would be to test to see which bike was better, which bike was faster, the 125 two-stroke or the 250 four-stroke. We're running at Anaheim here and we're going to start with the 250F. So basically how I did this was I picked Anaheim because it was an easier track, one that I could kind of replicate the same lap over and over again. Of course I have mistakes, and that's the reason we ran 5 laps. So we run 5 laps, and then whatever our best lap was, unless it would have been completely awful, that's the lap we're going to go by. So, I mean, it's not... Of course, I could have probably got a better lap here with the 250 or a better lap with the 125. It's just... It kind of came down to, obviously, just which lap was cleaner. But I think, really, it only showed me one thing, and we can kind of talk about that after we get to the 125 part. But I don't know, it was really interesting because both bikes feel pretty much the same. I don't really notice a whole lot of difference on them. I'm sure there'll be guys that'll say that, oh yeah, this one bike feels way different, and maybe it does to you, but to me, excuse me, I don't really notice it. Like, this lap obviously is going to be trash now because we went down, so, you know, that's why we ran 5 laps. What I was going to do is try and run 5 laps that were really clean, really equal, and then just kind of take the average time and see which one had a better average time. But since I'm not that consistent, I knew I was going to have a couple really bad laps. Otherwise, I just had to keep sitting here and just kind of keep playing the same track out 5 laps in a row until I got 5, like, basically identical lap times. And I feel like doing 5 was enough to let me get a fairly consistent lap time. So there's a couple lines in here that would have been faster. I realize that. Like, you can actually jump onto that table and then step off. The problem is that's one line that was difficult for me to get all the time or at all. I mean, I don't even know if I would have got it in 5 laps on each bike. So I kind of went with the safe line and then just used the same line for both bikes. You know what I mean? So didn't try to shoot for anything crazy. I think here you can... I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can quad that, but I'm not... Well, that might be faster because then you can double and then double out. So that's something interesting. Now, one thing that was a little interesting to me too, and it probably is just me, but I felt like the 125 actually went through the whoops better. I felt like it stayed tracking in the whoops better. I didn't get a weird kicker and didn't get bounced up in the air. It just felt like that. And then you can kind of preload your way out of this and fly through the sand. And I think you can quad this section as well. Not sure. I haven't really tried. But like I said, just trying to run the same lap, even if it's not the fastest line, as long as both bikes were running the same lap. They're both... fully upgraded. Both of them have all the upgrades, everything on it, and it took a while. I was gonna do the 250 versus the 450 as well, but my game reset on me again, so I had to get the moto coins, and I think that's something that they're aware of, and I believe they're working on a patch. I don't know if it's gonna be a day 1 patch or what, but they are working on a patch for a lot of things. So a little frustrating right now, but you know, it didn't take too long to grind out some moto coins to upgrade these, because the 250 and the 125 you automatically have. You don't have to buy them. You have to buy the 450s and the 250s. And I think the 250 is like 9,000 moto coins and the 450 is 11,500 or 12,000. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but those are the only ones you have to buy, and I just didn't have enough coins for it. So if that's something you want to see tested or something, we will attempt that. I'll have to find a track that I can kind of, I guess, run the same lap on, like identical laps. There's a little supercross track. I forget what it's called. It's at the very end. That's a really easy one to run consistent laps on, but I don't know. It was just too easy and not practical enough. So the fastest lap time we ran there was a 1:13. Yes, I know there's faster lap times, but I'm trying to hit the consistent lines so I can replicate it with both bikes. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple laps here that we kind of mess up on the 125. But before we do anything, because everybody was so offended by me talking over the 125, let's take a moment of silence so you can actually hear it. Okay, I think that's good enough. Since we did that anyways, and I kind of wanted to address it, I said that I think the 4-stroke sounds were better. they were better. Okay, for a video game, I don't need it to be perfect. I know some people do, but me personally, I don't. So I'm saying on my own behalf, okay, my own behalf, I think they're okay. The two-stroke sounds, I've said, could use some work, for sure. I said the 250 sounded better than any of them if I had to choose one. Under a load, I didn't really like the way it sounded when you pull in the clutch or would rev it in the air or whatever. And the one thing, I didn't really notice this until right now. If you listen closely, and now you won't be able to hear it because I'm talking, oh my god, I'm talking, so you might not hear it. When the bike revs up a little bit, when it's not under a load, it sounds like a four-stroke. It sounds the same as like with the four-stroke. I'm not 100% sure why it's like that. Maybe you'll hear it here. Let's just listen and see if we can hear it. Okay, I heard it a couple times in there. If you couldn't hear it, you're deaf. Straight up deaf. I can hear like this four-stroke brap. Like it's like a blip of the throttle real quick on the four-stroke. I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure why it's like that. So yeah, okay. I think the sounds, specifically the two-strokes, could use some work. I think that gets the message across the same as somebody just being downright nasty about it. And I think people are more willing to listen to constructive criticism as opposed to just flat out hate. Okay, that's just the way I look at things. If you look at them the opposite, perfectly fine. But I'm saying the same thing, so don't put words in my mouth that I'm not saying. They could use work, for sure. But sound is an important thing to me, but I think it's less important to me than a lot of people. So that's just how I feel about it. But as of right now, what you can tell is we're running basically the same lap times. Like very almost identical. I mean, our fastest is a 1:13, and our fastest here is a 1:43. So we're, almost identical lap times. And I'm hitting the same lines with this bike, and we've made a couple mistakes, so it's not perfect. But here's the last lap, and so what it tells me is that there really isn't a lot of difference. The 125 is equally as good as the 250. In my opinion, if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying that I think they're equally good. I don't think there's a lot of difference. And to let you know, we do run the faster lap time on the 125, and I think that's just basically because I got a cleaner lap. I think both bikes are pretty much the same, and there isn't a whole lot of difference. So I might try the 250, 450. If that's something you want to see, let me know down in the comments, and we'll try to get that done. But that basically wraps up this video. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.